Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. My name is Carla. I'm 31 years old, and I'm married to David, a police officer. People often said we were the perfect couple, the kind of love that survives anything. But love, I've learned, doesn't vanish in one blow. It rots slowly from whispers and omissions, from eyes that look past you. It started with a message. I was at home folding laundry when David texted, "Staying late at the station. Big case. Don't wait up." It wasn't unusual. He'd been working late a lot recently, but something about that night felt different. I stared at the message longer than I should have, the silence of the house pressing against me. My gut whispered that small, unexplainable word that ruins everything: doubt. I tried to ignore it. The next day, I decided to surprise him at the precinct with lunch. I packed his favorite roast beef sandwich, coffee, and that small chocolate bar he always claimed was his lucky charm. When I arrived, the station buzzed with the usual chaos. Phones ringing, officers moving fast, the smell of coffee and sweat filling the air. I smiled politely at a young officer and asked if David was around. He looked confused. "Sergeant Davis? He left an hour ago. Said he was going home." My hands went cold. "Home?" I repeated, forcing a smile. "Are you sure?" "Yeah," he said. "With someone, I think. His wife." He said it casually, as if he hadn't just cracked open my chest. I turned away before my face could betray me. My heart pounded so loud I could barely hear. My husband had left with someone, and that someone might have been me, according to his coworker. Except, of course, I just arrived. The drive home felt endless. My thoughts raced between logic and panic, denial and fury. Maybe he was helping someone, maybe it was a misunderstanding, maybe no. My body knew before my mind would admit it. When I pulled into our driveway, David's car was there. The blinds in our bedroom were half closed, and through the narrow gap, I saw movement. A shadow. A flash of skin. For a moment, my lungs refused to work. The world around me blurred. The sun too bright, the air too still. I stepped out of the car, each movement heavy, deliberate, unreal. I didn't want to believe it, but something inside me had already shattered. The front door was unlocked. I pushed it open quietly. The sound of faint laughter floated down the hallway. Her laughter. High, nervous, almost girlish. I followed it. Our bedroom door was cracked open. Through that small space I saw David. His back bare, his head bent close to a woman's face. Her hair spilled across my pillow. My pillow. It wasn't rage that hit me first. It was numbness. The kind that steals the breath before the tears. I stood there, frozen, watching the man I loved move with tenderness he hadn't shown me in months. I wanted to scream, to burst in, to demand answers. But instead I just stepped back. Slowly. Silently. The lunch bag fell from my hands. The coffee spilled across the tile, spreading like a stain, dark, irreversible. I walked out before they saw me. That night I didn't confront him. When he came home, hours later, hair damp, smelling faintly of another woman's perfume, I pretended to be asleep. He slid into bed beside me, his breath even, his arm brushing mine. I lay there, my body rigid, my eyes open in the dark. He whispered, "Love you," before turning away. I wanted to ask, who did you say that to earlier? The next few days felt like moving through fog. I smiled when he spoke, laughed at his jokes, cooked dinner like always. But inside, everything was breaking quietly. I started noticing details. His sudden interest in cologne, the way he kept his phone face down, how he stepped outside to answer calls. Once I heard him say, "I can't talk now, she's here." She. The word hung like poison in the air. I didn't hire a detective. I didn't snoop through his phone. I didn't have to. The truth was already sitting beside me at dinner, already kissing me goodnight. It was a strange kind of power, knowing more than he thought I did. Watching him lie and wondering how long he'd keep it up. One evening, after weeks of silence, I told him I wanted to visit the station again. Maybe bring donuts for everyone. He froze for a second before smiling too wide. "That's sweet, babe, but the guys don't need that. Save your energy." That's when I decided. The next morning I went anyway. But not to see him. I found the young officer again. The one who had told me he left early that day. I asked as casually as I could, "Hey, that woman you saw with David before, what does she look like?" He hesitated. Short brown hair, kind of quiet. Works in records. Her name. He looked guilty. Carla, I don't want to. Please, I said softly. Just her name. He sighed. Laura. Laura. I knew her. She was one of David's co-workers. We'd had coffee once. She told me how lucky I was to have a husband like him. Something inside me snapped. That evening when David came home, I greeted him like usual. We ate dinner, watched TV, talked about nothing. Then I asked, "How's Laura doing?" The fork slipped from his hand. What? I smiled. Laura. From records. You've mentioned her before. He looked at me for a long time, eyes narrowing slightly. Why are you asking? No reason, I said, standing up. I just think you should know she called me today. He went pale. What did she say? I leaned close enough for him to smell the cold fury beneath my calm. She didn't say anything, I whispered. But she didn't have to. The next morning he packed a bag and left without a word. I never called him. Never begged, never chased. Sometimes late at night I still hear his voice, the way he said, "Love you," like it meant something. And sometimes I almost miss him. Almost. But then I remember the sound of her laughter in our bedroom, and the ache hardens into something sharper. Peace maybe. Or survival. Whatever it is, it's mine now.